Padma Kevalabhakati Sadma. Not that. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabhakati Sadma. Kevalabhakati Sadma. Bandho Muisavadana Mate Bandho Muisavadana Mate Yahara Prasade Bhai Bhava Toriya Yahara Prasade Bhai Bhava Toriya Bhava Toriya Krishna Prapti Hoyanha Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoyanha Hoite Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Koriya Kya Guru Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Koriya Kya Aina Kori Ho Mane Asha Aina Kori Ho Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Ye prasade pure sava asha Ye prasade pure sava asha Chaku Jan Dilo Ye Janme Janme Prabhu Se Chaku Jan Dilo Ye Janme Janme Prabhu Se Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito Prema Bhakti Yahate Avidya Vinashayate Prema Bhakti Yahate Avidya Vinashayate Vede Gayan Hara Charito Vede Gayan Hara Charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Divana Lokanath Lokera Divana Ha Prabhu Karo Daya Jai Hamare Padachaya Ha Prabhu Karo Daya Jai Hamare Padachaya Ebiya Sushupri Bhuvana Ebiya Sushupri Bhuvana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Nama Padaya Krishna Pristaya Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Mamaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Atmadana Maha Giri Gopinath Madana Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita. Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath. Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath. Shri Jiv Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai. Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahams of Rajikacharya Astotavasa Sri Srimanas Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Siddha Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem si Go Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shaiman Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Chamun Mai ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Here's a reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 796. This is a lecture Srila Prabhupada gave, actually. So as Nrsingadev touched the head of Prahlad Maharaj, immediately you can have that same facility. What is that facility? How? Nrsingadev is not here. Krishna is not here. No, he is here. What is that? Nama Rupe Kali Kale Krishna Avatar. Krishna is present by his name, Krishna. Don't think this Krishna, Hare Krishna, this name is different from Krishna. Absolute Krishna. The deity Krishna, the name Krishna, the person Krishna, everything, the same absolute truth. There is no differentiation. So in this age, simply by chanting Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet, simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shudho Nitya Mukta. Don't think the holy name of Krishna is different from Krishna. It is Purnam. Purna Purnam Ada Purnamidam. Everything Purna. Purna means complete. We have tried to explain this completeness in our Ishopanishad. You have read. So stick to the holy name of Krishna. You'll get the same benefit as Prahlad Maharaj got by direct touch of the lotus palm of Nrsingadev. There is no difference. Always think like that as soon as you are chanting Hare Krishna, you must know that you are touching Krishna with your tongue. Then you get the same benefit as Prahlad Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we have some Harinams coming up where you can get the benefit of associating with Krishna. Today, University and 13th Street in Gainesville, that's at 4:30. Tomorrow, Saturday, Jacksonville Beach, leaving at 9:30 from the parking lot by caravan. And then a week from Saturday, Daytona Beach Rath Yatra. You can sign up for a bus if you'd like a seat on the bus, and the directions where we're going are in the newsletter. And we're just requesting all the devotees who are going to wear devotional clothing, like your dhotis, saris, etc., and then bring your beach clothes with you and change after the chanting or the Rath or whatever we're doing. Today is the appearance day of Vrindavan Das Thakur. He wrote the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Madan Mohan Prabhu will speak more about him. And let me just give you the lineup of speakers for next week. Everyone in ISKCON will wish they were in New Raman Reti next week. Tuesday, Radhanath Swami. These are Bhagavatam classes. Wednesday, Bhakti Rasamrita Swami. Thursday, Romapad Swami. Thursday evening, bhajas in the temple room, we think, with Indradumna Swami. Friday, Dinabandhu Prabhu. Saturday, we think Dinabandhu Prabhu will give class again. And Monday, Dinabandhu Prabhu again. So pretty fantastic. And these are the devotees who assisted their spiritual master in dressing the deities today. Shishi Radha Sham Sundar Astasaki Devi Dasi, Chota Radha Sham Sundar Ananda Vardhani Devi Dasi, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Akuti Devi Dasi, Chota Krishna Balaram Ekadasi Vrata Devi Dasi, Shri Shri Gornitai Jai Gauri Devi Dasi, Chota Gornitai Leela Devi Dasi, and the Gurus and Lord Nrsingadev Avaduta Nitai Das. And Madan Mohan Prabhu is giving class today.
Hare.
This is the quality of my class. That's something that we need to.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari
Gopi Jaba Girivardhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari
Gopi Jalaba Girivardhari.
Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Yashodanandana
Brajanandana
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Jayo Radha Madhava Punya Vihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Punya Vihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jayo Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari
Gopi Dalaba Laba Girivardhari
Jayo Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari
Gopi Dalaba Laba
Anandana Brajajana
Rajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Tiravanachari
Jayo Radha Madhava Punya Vihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Punya Vihari
Jaya Madhava Hari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Parajakacharya Astatar Sata Shishiman His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakti Vrindi Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Sri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Samam Bonam, Chapter 66. We're starting a new chapter. Pundraka, the false Vasudev. We're going to read text 1, and then there's no purport. Well, actually, there's a little purport. And the chapter summary. And of course, the Srimad Bhagavatam is our very means of conquest. This is Nitya Bhagavata Seva. This is our intelligence. This is our vision. This is our opportunity. Srimad Bhagavatam, the most important hour of the day. We'll see how. We shouldn't let anything else interrupt us
from doing this. Sometimes something else comes up and I figure, what can I give up so I can fit this into my day? And they say, well, I won't go to Bhagavatam class. That way I'll fit it in my day. So, and then the next day, something else comes up. Well, okay, then I don't have to come to Bhagavatam for that either then. In this way, one loses his opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so text one.
So this is verse number 1, chapter 66, 10th canto. Word meaning, Sri Shuka Uvacha, Shukadev Goswami said, Nanda of Nanda Maharaj, Vrajam, to the cowherd village, Gate, having gone, Rame, Lord Balaram, Karusha Adipati, the ruler of Karusha, Paundraka, Nripa, O King, Parikshit, Vasudeva, the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, Aham, I, Iti, thus thinking, Agya, foolish, Dutam, a messenger, Krishnaya, to Lord Krishna, Prahinot, sent. Shri Shuka Uvacha,
Sukavacha,
Nanda Vrajam Gate Rame,
Andavrajam Katairane,
Kurushadi Patir Nripa, Vasudevo Hamityagyo, Dutam Krishnaya Prahinot. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Nanda Vrajam Gate Rame, Karushadi Patir Nripa, Vasudevo Hamityagyo, Dutam Krishnaya Prahinot. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Nanda Vrajam Gate Rame, Karushadi Patir Nripa, Vasudevo Hamityagyo, Dutam Krishnaya Prahinot.
Krishna. Sukavacha. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, "O king, while Lord Balaram was away visiting Nanda's village of Braj, the village of Braj, the ruler of Karusa, foolishly thinking, 'I am the Supreme Lord Vasudeva,' sent a messenger to Lord Krishna." Purport. Since Lord Ram had gone to Nanda Braj, Pundraka foolishly thought that Lord Krishna would be alone and therefore easy to challenge. Thus he dared to send this crazy message to the Lord. So today we also read the chapter summary. There we go. This chapter relates how Lord Krishna went to Kazi, the present-day Varnaris, and killed Pundraka and Kasiraj, and how the Lord Sudarshan Disk defeated a demon, incinerated the city of Kashi, and killed Sudakasina. While Lord Balaram was visiting Braj, King Pundraka of Kurusa he was encouraged by fools, announced that he was the real Vasudeva. Thus he challenged Lord Krishna with the following message: "Since I alone am the true personality of Godhead, you should give up your false claim to this position as well as my divine symbols and take shelter of me. If you do not, then prepare for battle." When Ugrasena and the members of his royal assembly heard Pundraka's foolish boast, they all laughed heartily. Sri Krishna then told Pundraka's messenger to convey a message to his master. "O fool, I will force you to give up the so-called Sudarshan Disk and the other divine symbols of mine you have dared to assume. And when you lie down on the battlefield, you'll become the shelter of dogs." Okay. You would always think that he said, "Well, here, if you want my chakra, here, catch. See if you're a good catch." Lord Krishna then went to Kasi. Pundraka, seeing the Lord preparing for battle, quickly came out of his city to confront him with his army. His friend, Kasiraj, followed him, leading the rear guard, just as the fire of the universal devastation destroys every living being in all directions. So Lord Krishna annihilated the armies of Pundraka and Kasiraj. Then, after chastising Pundraka, the Lord beheaded both him and Kasiraj, which is Sudarshan Disk. Thereafter he returned to Dwarka. Because Pundraka had constantly meditated on the Supreme Lord, even dressing like him, he gained, Supreme Lord, then dressing like him, he gained liberation. That's a nice point to notice, that he actually was liberated from this. When Krishna beheaded Kasiraj, the king's head flew into his city, and when the his queens, sons, and other relatives saw it, they began to lament. At that time, the son of Kasiraj, named Sundarsena, wanting to avenge his father's death, began worshipping Lord Shiva with the intention of destroying his father's killer. Gratified by Sundarsena, worship, Lord Shiva offered him a choice of benedictions. And Sundasena asked for a means to kill one who has slain his father. Lord Shiva advised him to worship the Vaksina Agni fire with black magic rituals. And Sundarsena did, and the result was that a fearsome demon with a body of flames appeared from the pit of the sacrificial fire. The demon rose up carrying a fiery trident and at once set off for Dwarka. The residents of Lord Krishna's capital city became terrified as the demon approached the city. But Lord Krishna assured them of protection and dispatched his Sudarshan Chakra to oppose the magic creation of Lord Shiva. The Sudarshan overpowered the demon, who then returned to Varnaris and burned Shuddha Shaksin to ashes together with his priests. The Sudarshan disc, following the demon, entered Varanasi and burned the entire city to the ground. Then the Lord's disc returned to the site in Dwarka. Om Akyana Timirandasya Jana Jana Salakalaya Chaksum Malitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jayatam Surito Pangor Mamamanda Materagati Matsarvaswa Patambojo Radha Madana Mohano. So, starting a new chapter, this Pundraka, we kind of make him out a little bit almost like a cartoon character. But he was actually, this isn't the first time that he's appeared in the Bhagavatam. Earlier, he also was there at the kidnapping of Rukmini with Shishupal, and he brought 2 Akshahinis, divisions of soldiers there. So evidently he can recruit quite a large army. And that was taken care of back then, and then we hear about, in today's summary, that his army was also completely annihilated. So you sometimes wonder, did he have his extra 2 arms when he was there at Rukmini's? There isn't any mention, so we figured he didn't have them at that time. And it was just the opportunity here, so he did that. And of course, as devotees, we sometimes wonder how did he manufacture these, as the kind of like the comical aspect of for a devotee. But this mentality that he was demonstrating, it's actually imposed by the modes of nature. Every living entity is born. We're eternal spirit soul. We're the consciousness, the soul that's within these bodies. And for the most part, the idea of a demon, it's like the other guys, the other group. But in reality, Krishna gives a whole chapter in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, called the Divine and Demoniac Natures, just so we could see it. And if we think about it for a moment, we can see that the nature, how it increases. Like it's mentioned that when one comes into the material world, his first birth is as Lord Brahma, and he can go all the way down through the 8,400,000 species of life, or he can go back. So even with, it says, any one of the senses the mind focuses on can carry away a man's intelligence, even of discrimination. So it's a very subtle point, and it's easy for us to look at the other person and say, oh, they're demons. But it's just a seed element, and we can find different evidences of it, which will assist us in our humility and our dependence on the sadhana that Prabhupada gave us. So for myself, the only difference between me being a demon and being a devotee is Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane. That's it. If I didn't say those words, then how does the mind that comes with this body act? As soon as you see something, you think about it, and then the next thing is you want to have it. Contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment. So the attachment is I and mine. So this I and mine, this is the root of this demoniac consciousness, isn't it? So much is, what's the rest of that one? Oh, so much is mine today, and what am I going to do today for tomorrow? I'll make more of it. So does that sound vaguely familiar to anyone? You know, that this is what material life is about. So everybody thinks like that. So we don't say everybody's a demon. Well, sometimes it just depends if it would be palatable or not. But everybody, when you look at something in the world, you look through the senses. The senses see sense objects, because Sankhya philosophy, there's 5 senses, 5 sense objects, 5. And so this is the world that we live in, is the empirical perspective. So we see these things, and as soon as you see it, the default setting, what we're born with, is the ignorance of identifying with this body, the one that we're in right now, whatever one we're in, that's the one we are. And because Ananda Moya Vyasat, we're chip off the old block, we're part and parcel of Krishna, we naturally want to enjoy. And in ignorance, your enjoyment is the senses and your body. Basically, senses means body and your mind. So this is the cycle of samsara. And if that's as far as you get, then you're on your way to another body. But by somehow or other, if we get some good fortune, Brahmanda Bhumite Kona Bhagyavanaji, so that's good fortune, then one gets, by the mercy of Krishna, he gets a spiritual master who gives him the seed of divine consciousness. And if you offer obeisances, then gradually, by following those directions, the disease is destroyed at its root. So I'm going to read a little bit from chapter 16, because so often, right now, we're in, for the most part, it's called the Anartha Nivritti stage. There's Adoshraddha, a little bit of faith that this sounds like something worth checking out. Associating with devotees, yes, I should definitely do this. Eternal, blissful life of perfect knowledge. The loving exchange that I'm always hankering for is available in this human form of life. So we take initiation, we follow the instructions of the spiritual master, and our nature starts to change. But it doesn't give up without a fight. Yesterday I was listening to a nice class from a devotee from Russia, and he was saying when a devotee asked him, how's it going over there? And he says, well, you know, it's difficult. They had that ruling that they were banning the Bhagavad Gita. So one of the devotees asked, well, which Bhagavad Gita were they inspecting to ban? And he said it was Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So devotees were thinking, oh, that's good. At least they were reading the Bhagavad Gita. So he said, well, what was some of the results? And he pointed out that he knows of 2 of the people that were assigned to that project that were the KBG, which is their pretty elite group over there, that became devotees, full-time devotees, by reading it under the direction of the KGB to find what was wrong with it. So that's funny, isn't it? You know? So he said, but the KGB isn't someone that's easy to quit. You know, once you're working for like the CIA, KGB, and a government position, mafia, you can't just say, well, I've changed my mind, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to go back and just be a farmer or something. No, they don't let you quit. It's a very difficult place to quit. And also some medicine is like that. You can take the medicine, but if you want to stop, you can't stop. because there's a element, or drugs. Heroin is the one that back in old days used to be popular. They say the first one's free, so because once you become addicted to it, you don't really enjoy it anymore, but you're forced to do it or you suffer horrible, horrible conditions. You can't do anything except suffer. So Maya, she's not much different than that. She says, if you do this, you'll enjoy happiness in the mode of passion. Sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Starts off, the first one's free, the honeymoon. It'll be wonderful. You'll have so much fun together. And then it wears off at a certain point of time, and happiness in the mode of passion is nectar in the beginning, and then what's it turn into? Poison. So it's a similar concept. We have to connect these different concepts together of how this material energy is an intoxicant, not just that it makes you think you're happy, is that you end up when what its real nature is revealed is that you're suffering and you can't give it up. It's very hard to give up Maya. So, and when you become a devotee, we're at the stage now where this is happening to us. Like it mentions in the Anartha Nivritti stage, one becomes free from these unwanted things. So for the most part, this is a big hurdle in devotional service. And this, it mentions that there's 4 routes to these anarthas. The first 2 are basically what I see as the main routes. The other 2 are how you're dealing with them, effectively or ineffectively. So what are the first 2 routes are your past, okay, and then that's divided into 2 categories about your past. Do you know what the 2 categories of your past are? Oh, you do. You know. What is it? So they divide it into 2 groups, your past sinful activities and your past pious activities. And that translates into your past happiness that's coming to you. You won't be able to avoid this happiness that's coming to you. Generally, we don't try. And then there's your past sinful reactions, which are your suffering that's coming to you. And you also can't avoid that. It's coming. So now that you're the Anartha Nivritti stage, you're understanding, I'm not this body. Krishna says you can't, the soul's amazing. Some speak of the soul's amazing, some can't understand it at all, but we're eternal. 100 years ago, we were in a different body. 100 years from now, we'll be in another body, maybe, or spiritually realized. But when we're in this body, we identify with it. So the spiritual master gives us a sadhana, which is like a reset button. It's every day when you wake up, you make it to the bathroom, you look in the mirror, and you're still convinced you're the body. Unless, of course, what we were trained in the old days is the first thing you would do when you woke up is you'd get yourself into a position and you would go, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya. You would immediately reset that I'm not this body, I'm eternal spirit soul, I'm taking directions from my spiritual masters. But as time goes by, little things can get forgotten. And then the niyamagraha can slowly start to set in. So it's a razor's edge, spiritual life. It's a razor's edge. And by looking around, we can see that as the time is going on, that it's not a massacre, but there's a lot of blood being shed from inattentiveness. So to be attentive, there's different ingenuity you have to, out of your sincerity and desperation and intelligence, you make yourself different reminders of how to take advantage of this situation. Eternal blissful life of perfect knowledge, or falling back into the bodily conception of life and just being harassed and beat up every day by the material energy. So we have to come to the mode of goodness and have as our routine, come to Mangal Arati, Tulsi worship, being conscious of the Tulsi prayer. I bow before you again and again, my desire. So we have this, the prayer to the spiritual master, my only desire is to have my consciousness purified by the words. So this isn't an external thing. This has to be connected up all the way to our heart. Otherwise, the things that are in our heart will come back out again, and we'll lose this golden Gauravani opportunity. So here's what Arjuna was also questioning to Krishna, and this is some of the things that Krishna said. He said, Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness. Okay, so we have to see, is there anything that's fearful for us? Purification of one's existence, okay. Cultivation of spiritual knowledge, what we're doing right now. Charity, self-controlled, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly men endowed with the divine nature. So when I look at that list, not a lot of those pop out to me, except, of course, after we say Nama Om Vishnu. We're being trained. This is our training. These qualities will be developing in us if one says Nama Om Vishnu. As long as he keeps saying that many, many times during the day. In fact, just like the Bhagavad Gita, as soon as Krishna explains that you're not this body, he says one has to learn how to tolerate the duality of this world, which is the happiness and distress, which is the past pious activities of past impious activities. And if you do that, tatenu kampam, then what becomes your dayabak? Muktipad. He says that liberation becomes your rightful inheritance if you keep regard, even though there's some these different anarthas from your past sins and past pious activities are happening. What do you do the whole time? Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. You keep offering your obeisances, and then you can clear the anartha stage, because there's two more roots. The other one is the weeds that grow along with the watering process. In other words, we know how to assimilate everything that happens in our life some way or other and make some happiness out of it. So when we're doing devotional service, we're thinking, okay, I'm actually, sometimes if you do devotional service nicely, you'll get a position, someone will honor you, you'll get some different credit, and you start to think, this is nice, and it actually distracts you from trying to please the spiritual master into thinking that that is your actual creeper. So that's a weed that comes along. And the weeds, it's something like the forbidden fruit. Forbidden fruit doesn't long endure. So the fruit may taste sweet in the beginning, but it turns to poison. So that same idea, one grows this weed, and it doesn't happen until you're devotee, because the watering is hearing and chanting. So of course we don't have to, I've noticed when it stopped raining for the last week, my weeds aren't growing as much. So if you don't hear, it's a fact that your weeds won't grow as much as if you are hearing. But if you hear, that's another problem, that you have to hear properly. So as you hear properly means you do it. If it's explained that you're different from your body and different from your mind, then you do it. Okay, when the mind comes up with its propaganda, because it's not so easy to give up Maya's service. She comes into the mind and gives you a reassurance that we're like old friends, we're your family, we're your fallible soldiers. We're your very self. You should listen to the mind. So at that point, you have to know how to take shelter back to Krishna consciousness by chanting the holy name, giving up the 10 offenses. You will notice that every time that the mind speaks like that, comes in as your friend, you're not really distinguishing it. You think it's yourself. You're talking with it like, oh, that's me. So at that stage, if you don't offer your obeisances to your spiritual master, your mind will still guide you, and you'll make more wrong choices. And if you make those wrong choices, then the weed of that anartha changes. It becomes from an acute problem to a chronic problem, and then it's called an aparad, which will take you out of the association of devotees. It'll ruin everything that you've done. Like the elephant that tramples all the nice plants in your garden. We're growing a little garden. It's so hard. You got to water it properly. You got to get so many different things going. And we see a rabbit. We got a rabbit in our yard. He's usually on the other side of the yard, the rabbit. But we noticed he came and he was sitting right in front of the garden. There's not much going on right now. He's just waiting when things are going to grow. But he sits there sometimes for an hour. We look out the window and see the rabbit sitting next to the garden, just looking at it. So we know what he's there for. He's thinking, when's my dinner going to be ready? He's waiting. So we have to also see that at any time we're inattentive, she's ready to give us these good instructions. So wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one has to bring it back under the control of the self. And the self is our eternal nature of service. So we serve Krishna, we chant Hare Krishna. At that time, we have to chant in a prayerful mood. Krishna, your Maya is so attractive to me. I've been conditioned for so long. I identify with this mind and body so easily. Please give me shelter. And we chant again, and in that mood, one can start to clear those 10 offenses. Otherwise, they can come in as weeds and turn into offenses. So let's just hear a little bit about those other qualities. Since we read these divine qualities, and I can't particularly identify with many of them. In fact, it's only through Prabhupada offering obeisances to Prabhupada that any of them have any chance to manifest in me. And they're coming from him. So here's the other group. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance. These qualities belong to the demoniac nature. Anybody ever say anything to you and you snap back at them? That's not hard to do, is it? Which list is that from? Is that the tolerant and all these other ones, or is that the pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance? Ooh, that's not so far away. All right. So it says the transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas demoniac qualities make for bondage. So, of course, he's telling Arjuna, do not worry, O son of Pandu. You're born of divine qualities. Well, which ones are we born of? Can we say not to worry? No, we should be very worried. Those aren't the qualities I was born with. Those are the qualities I only stay connected through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, by the desire to please him and serve him. Nama Om. Of course, you can also go into Nama, in the Purana, what's the one that begins with a P? In one of the Puranas, it mentions that Nama means na. The na part means not, and ma means me, not me. So when you are practicing self-realization, this transcendental science of Krishna consciousness, chanting the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, directly associating with the Supreme Lord, we're saying we're not this Maya. We have to recognize how this Maya works, and we have to not be attracted to staying intoxicated by her influence. And she doesn't give up easy. So your determination is very important to get through this anartha nivritti stage. You have to have the determination, and actually these are all the divine qualities again. So just by accepting shelter by Prabhupada, you get all those divine qualities will start manifesting. So you'll have that determination just by Nama Om. So of course you can also, since we did Nama, you could also do Om. What does that mean? Since you're offering obeisances, not me, Nama Om. So we could just go into the practical definition of that. Is Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita there's two natures. There's the material nature and the spiritual nature, the internal potency and the external potency. And then he explains, but you're part of the internal potency, but you're the part of the internal potency that's called marginal. And there's the crux of the matter. The marginal means you can go either way. You can get covered by the external energy, or you can be serving the internal potency. So that's the whole show in a nutshell. And if you don't have a spiritual master and you don't chant Nama Om, take a guess which nature is going to cover you. That's where we've been for millions and millions and millions and millions, and practically speaking, since time immemorial. We're offered this one short lifetime in the human form of life. We've come in contact with the spiritual master, and by accepting him, we're acknowledging these two potencies and my choice. So because there's three in that group, there's the external energy, the internal energy, potency, and there's my choice, the marginal potency. So because there's those three, we're going to use that as the light of Om, to see it's all pervading. Krishna's choice for you is all pervading. What are you going to do with what you see, what you smell, what you feel, with your senses? What are you going to do with this? So therefore it's Nama Om. Everything. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Where is this Krishna? Vasudevaya. He's everywhere. Your choice is everywhere, at every moment, at every second. To Vasudeva Sarva, Kirtanya Sada Hari. At every moment, this is your choice. And if you don't have the humility, if you don't have the tolerance, which is the 2:14 and 2:15 Bhagavad Gita, that 2:15 says, 14 says, Martha Sparsis, you have to learn to tolerate. Then we went to 10:14a, Tatenu Kam. So the way that you tolerate the duality of this world is by offering obeisances. And in those obeisances, you understand, I'm the marginal potency. The external potency is based on me desiring to be Pundraka. Pundraka, he made it very far. He not only was convinced himself, but he had so many other people convinced, and they helped convince him. It's called bad association. The bad association means it's the platform of Maya. Do we ever have any bad association? How about what the mind speaks to us? Is that asat or sat? Does that come across with the material propaganda? You're the body, you're this mind, you're the enjoyer of this world. It comes across the whole thing. So the mind is actually not good association. So sometimes we hear the different songs where it says, oh mind, you are no Vaishnav, right? You've heard that one? We don't have many people here today, but usually somebody can sing it. Anybody know the song? Anyway, you're no Vaishnav. So this mind, how does one get delivered from the mind. How do you say deliver in Sanskrit? How about tra? And how do you say mind in Sanskrit? Ma. So how about tra ma? Oh, how about the other way around? Mantra. Mantra. So, okay. Now, these things are right in front of us. Mantra. So what's the greatest mantra? The Maha Mantra. So if we learn how to avoid the offenses, and when we were all initiated, practically speaking, every initiation into when you got your name, the spiritual master or his representative gave a talk on the 10 offenses. You're initiated into this chanting of this mantra, Golo Kera Premadan Hari Nam Sankirtan. It's coming down from the spiritual world. It has to be received properly. It has to be chanted properly to associate. And when one does that, he sees those three things. He sees the external energy, sees the internal energy. Just like we know for second-class devotee, there's 4 things. You know the 4 things? You always know those 4 things. Okay. You love Krishna. Okay. You make friends with the devotees. Preach to the innocent, and then you avoid, who do you avoid? What? Envious, the non-devotees. So, now if you were going to objectively look at what your mind says to you, what category would that one be under? Generally, the mind is your friend when Krishna is there. And when Krishna is not in your mind, it defaults back to ignorance. That's just where it goes. So the yoga system, connecting to the divine nature, means you have to work with that. You have to recognize 3:26:14 explains Lord Kapila Dev, he's talking, he says, so you can recognize who's there. Someone, the next thing you say is, who's there? Of course, the mind just opens the door and walks in. It owns the place, it doesn't say anything, doesn't announce itself. But if you look at it, you can see, what is it saying? And then, what's Lord Chaitanya say? Asat Sangha Tyag. Well, what should you do? E Vaishna Charan. He says, associate with the devotees. Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing. What was that we said earlier? Is Trinadapi. Kirtanya, Sada. It has to be Kirtan, which means the glorification. How much Krishna is being properly seen. It's not a separate vision to see Krishna and to see the glory of Krishna. That he's situated in glory. Sometimes I like meters. I used to think in meters, continuums. So how much glorification of Krishna is present is how much truth is present. People can say Krishna without glorifying him, but how much truth is in that? The glorification and the truth are there the same. So if you listen to the mind, which is based on the asat, which is based on the whole package deal, then following such conclusions, you become lost. So where else does Krishna say lost? Who knows another verse where Krishna says, 18 chapter 58? If you become conscious of me, what are the 3 things in Om? The internal potency, external potency, and your choice. Nama Om. Okay, you're aware of your choice. So he says, if you become conscious of me, 1858, you'll be able to cross over all the difficulties of conditioned life by my grace, by divine grace, by your engagement with Prabhupada. So that's how you tolerate from 2:14 and 2:15. You do your duty. You come out of the mode of passion. You come into the mode of goodness. Things are clear. He says, but if you don't do that, if you don't hear sufficiently, properly, like places packed, we should recognize that we're becoming lost. He says, and if you become conscious of me, you cross over all the obstacles of conditional life by my grace. If, however, you don't work in this consciousness, but act through the false ego, not hearing me, then you'll be lost. So the same point is made by the four Kumars, 4, 22, 31. It says 4, 30, 21. When one deviates from his original consciousness, which is the internal potency, he loses the capacity to recognize his present situation or remember his past situation. All knowledge that is gained at that time is false. When this occurs, the learned sages say that the soul is lost. So it starts with just the verse before, 4:22:30, which is, if you think about sense gratification, it will absorb your consciousness, just like if you have a lake, nice lake. We have different ponds around. You see that around the ponds, these different grasses grow, reeds or shoots, different types of tall grasses grow around the pond because there's such an ample supply of water, nice weed that's growing by the watering process. And it gradually takes all the water out of the pond. So that's how that happens. And one last verse would be they put the clock back up, but it doesn't have the right time on it. I was just looking, a blur from this. It's 20 to 6. Yeah, that doesn't look right. Okay, at least see if you... Okay, well, sorry. There's, in King Prachini Barisat, which is the 4:26:14, it says that after one becomes refreshed in Krishna consciousness, he becomes refreshed, just like the four kinds. One of the four kinds is the distressed. So you come to Krishna consciousness, the distress is eliminated. But unless he becomes wise by what we're explaining in class every day, then after becoming refreshed, he consults with his mind. Imagine taking counsel from your mind and decides whether he should go on in Krishna consciousness or return to material life. So as the anarthas start to go away, they don't give up without a fight. They're going to present through the mind whether you should continue on or go back to the way you were. And what's our rebuttal for that? What should one do? What are the two words that I've said over and over again in today's class? Hey, there you go. Thank you. Nama Om. That's our choice. That's our hope. That's our qualities. If we don't do that, what's it? A snowball's chance in. Well, I'm not allowed to say that word here. Okay, it's like a snowball's chance in a very hot place. Not very good. All right. So, we have any questions, comments, or anything like that? Who's going to be? Oh, we got a runner. Thank you. Nowadays, you have to wait a while. Everybody limps.
You spoke about
where's the
getting up in the morning. Way back about 40 years ago, we were taught one way in Denver, which I still usually do. First of all, we had a very long verse that had everything in it. I still chant that one.
Could you repeat it once for us?
It's long, but I don't even know what it means, but Jayate, Jananavaso, Devaki, Janmavado, Jadabara, Parasit, Swaidavir, Stirachara, Brijanagnam, Sushita, Shundata, Shimakana, Rajapuram, Bandatam, Badayan, Kamadavam.
Thank you.
I don't know what it means, but it had everything in it. And then, but then we were taught that it would be very bad if the first thing you did in the morning was you saw your stuff or your family, your wife, or even your face in the mirror. So everyone had to jump up really quick in the dark, and either in the dark or one's eyes. We could first head for a picture of Prabhupada or Chaitanya or Krishna, or another good thing was to open the door and see the temple, or look over the service you're going to do, such as Palapat or something, and then head for the shower.
Well, you know how well that's worked. Here you are, sitting 40-some years later in Bhagavatam class. So whether you fully know the meaning or you don't, you said it with faith, and it has its result. Because as we were noticing how slow the microphone moves from one person to the other, where's the youth? We were all in our 20s. Right now, everybody is someplace, and everybody is doing something. And they're doing something because there's conviction and faith in what they're doing. So, anyway. Oh, yes, over on the ladies' side. Thank you. A nice, attentive audience today.
Thank you very much. Your classes are always very nice. I just have one protest, though, and that is, when you say, why is not everybody here? Why are all the people here? And, the youth is out there because they have faith in what they're doing. But maybe it's also because they have families and kids to raise. And, now you're retired, your children are grown up. You don't have to be at a job. So, I find many times that, even though you desire to be at the temple, you desire to get up from Mangal Arati, but you just can't because, you have a kid, or, maybe your health is not good. So sometimes it's the desire, and what you're thinking of. If you're desiring, to be at the temple, Krishna counts that as the same.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Just these things, that like sometimes people go and they work a job, but they're thinking, I wish I could chant my rounds.
Yes.
I have so many friends who say that, I just hanker for the time when I can sit and chant my rounds with focus, but they just can't do it because of circumstances. But, if they keep cultivating desire, one day, when the kids are grown up and they don't have these duties, they'll have the opportunity and they'll have the full attention, so.
I agree with you 100%. That's wonderful. Could I also say the other side? Because there's 4 defects. The 4 defects conditioned souls have. The senses are imperfect. We make mistakes. We're an illusion. And the last one? The cheating propensity. So what you say is 100% true. And as the time goes by, sometimes I'm a little fanatical, so I try to moderate it. Like, for instance, in math, I always like math. That's why I have no numbers all the time. So I made an equation. Is doing something equal sign the same as not doing it if you have a good excuse? Are they equal? What do you think is a math problem? You always have an equal sign. Doing something equal to not doing it if I have a good excuse. I'll come up with a practical example. I missed lunch because I was very busy. So I wasn't hungry anymore. Well, in that situation, it didn't work because you're still hungry. So if you're saying is actually the fact that every day they're doing that, then Krishna assists in so many different ways. But if it's just, let's say, an excuse for different reasons, actually I could make an adjustment, like on Sunday. I don't work on Sunday, but I'm tired. So maybe tired now will work for the excuse. And then there's Saturday. Well, I've worked all whole week. I need to unwind. So maybe Saturday, or there's a special program because it's Memorial Day. So it's closed on Monday where I have to work. So I can come on Monday at least because it's closed. So we'll see. Monday's coming up next week, I guess, or the week after that. There'll be a Monday where things will be closed. So we can see that, and not that we see it, it's that Krishna sees it. So yes, that's a fact, if those reasons are there. But we also notice it still has an effect. Like when you miss lunch, you still feel weak. That's what happens to me. If I don't eat, I can forget about eating, but I don't forget about getting tired and grumpy and a little irritable when I don't eat. So those things still seem to work. So there is problems with that. And then, in a broader sense, we would think how nice it'll be when ISKCON expands its hiring capacity to be able to have everyone as they finish their education systems, can get a position where they can make their ends meet comfortably within ISKCON, which could be arranged around the temple schedule. Like it was when I joined, I had to work, and I worked at Spiritual Sky Incense, which was a nice company back in the 70s. So we went to the morning program, then we went out to that, and on Saturdays it was closed, so we went on Harinam all day, and it could be adjusted. So hopefully I'm always anticipating that when ISKCON recognizes the necessity of protecting through engagement all of the praja, the different personalities from they used to say cradle to the grave, now we'll say, I guess, samskara to samadhi. All the different stages of life a devotee goes through will have the opportunity to stay properly engaged, because this engagement is our protection. Otherwise, Maya Prabhupada would give the example of one stick. You take one stick, it's very easy to break a stick, but then he took a whole bunch of them, like a stack of incense that you get all wrapped in a string. You can't break that. So the foremost principle of advancement in Krishna consciousness is association. In the Nectar of Instruction, it's the only one that's mentioned 2 times, asatsanga, to give up the association of non-devotees. It's easier to live in a cage of fire than associate with non-devotees. It's so much against the grain, unless, of course, you can preach or there's different things. But as you're saying, sometimes it's very difficult. It's a great austerity to have to do that. And then what our necessities are is a sliding scale. Some people can exist on very little, and they've made that choice. Like Chanaka Pandit, he's the prime minister, a great personality that Prabhupada quotes all the time. He didn't even take a salary. He said because taking that salary from a person he's supposed to give advice to, the king, would compromise his truthfulness. Because if there's a certain etiquette of, even with grandfather Bhishma, during the disrobing of Draupadi, he's a Mahajan. How come he's strong, powerful, he could have came and wiped the whole thing out. But when you take employment, you have obligations. So now you're becoming obligated. And we can see even from grandfather Bhishma, he fought against Krishna, his worshipful deity, with Duryodhana. So there's a lot of considerations, and even though what you say is perfect, I agree with everything you say, there's a lot more that can be delved into it, not to let it go easily on one side or the other. But I thank you very much for bringing it up, because sometimes I glance over that and I don't give the proper, yes, it is a fact. In fact, I hear sometimes also that it's only for the couple that, that if you look around, it's only the ones that have this job or that job that can come. But then there's the old saying, where there's a will. I mean, our morning program is at 4:30. Not many people are working at 4:30. We do have some newspaper delivery people that say I have to work at 4:30. But most people aren't working at 4:30. They probably don't start till 6:30 or 7. And as you're saying, the will and the way, I think those are the ones, but it's very touchy. These kind of things, you can get really touchy with people. You gotta have them feel that you're their well-wisher. Otherwise, if they don't feel that, they're going to really gonna blast you.
I mean, I'm just thinking, to me it seems like, there's a lot of gray areas. It's not all black and white. Like, you say association of devotees. You can have association with Srila Prabhupada by reading his books. I mean, you listen to classes on the internet, people who are married, husband and wife, this is association. And on the other side, I mean, I don't mean to criticize, but, you can come to the temple and get engaged in prajalpa with another devotee. It's not like that necessarily, you come and it's 100%, devotee association. Sometimes that it's sadhu association.
Catch up with all the latest gossip.
So, yeah, exactly. So it's like, to me it seems like it's a balance. If you want to be Krishna conscious, you want to take association. You can take association, you can go meet a devotee at their house. it doesn't mean because somebody's not at the temple that, they engage in Maya. I mean, you can be Krishna conscious at your own home. Like Prabhupada said, make your home into the temple, preach to people, make them into devotees, and you'll have association. So it's not like, that's what I just feel.
That's perfect.
It's not black and white.
There's ahoy chukiya patiyata. It says it's unmotivated and it cannot be interrupted. So the 10:10 verse, you sound like you were paraphrasing Krishna's Bhagavad Gita, Tesam, that for those who are constantly devoted and worship me, I give them the intelligence how to see it because it cannot be interrupted. So generally that's wonderful. However, at the same time, we're not very strong. A strong person can stay strong wherever he is. It's an immune system thing. Just like sometimes you wonder, how come doctors aren't sick all the time? They're always dealing with sick people. Maybe some of them are. It's because of the immune system. Sometimes one person sneezes, one person gets sick and someone else doesn't. So if your spiritual immune system is strong, there isn't any material difficulty. But for the most part of us, we're weak. And Prabhupada set it up because he knows that this would be the optimum situation. But as you're saying, 100% accurately and very nice, I'm always glad to round that out. If one is genuinely and sincere, but I know for myself,